Hey, welcome to episode 176 of Wartime Christianity, the evolution of the Truth Slinger Project. And I'm your host, Tim, and today I'm feeling real philosophical. So I'd like to talk to you today about truth. My soul is deeply troubled today, and so maybe you can stick with me today as I sort through this, and maybe we can come out a little smarter on the end, right? Hey. I'm Tim. I'm your truth slinger extraordinaire, here with hippie chick off to my right. Always the ever-present Jennifer. Love her dearly. Anyway, what do I want to talk about today? Well, I hope you stick around, because if you look down in the banner below, while you're liking, sharing, subscribing, and passing this important message along, and hitting the subscribe, do that. Take care of that right off the bat, so you know when we go live. We're going to talk about truth today. That's what I want to talk about. And I woke up deeply troubled this morning. And one of the reasons was that I got into a conversation with a friend last night. And I've been spending a lot of time thinking about race relations lately. And a lot of, black on white violence. And very disturbing, because at this point it's not merely anecdotal, it's a trend. And so that's a very uncomfortable thing to talk about, right? Very uncomfortable. It is something nobody ever wants to talk about. And in that vacuum, that is where the problem will continue to just fester and grow. It won't get solved, right? So, but my soul is troubled on a deeper level, because as the war continues to rage in Israel, the anti-Semitic hatred that is on full display, the just violence in general, the open borders, and then to see San Francisco cleaned up and pressure washed, and the homeless people just disappeared because world leaders and big wigs and Chinese communists are coming. And so they just swept it up. And they admitted it. Gavin Newsom just said, yep, we did it just because they were coming. And I'm like going, wow, they don't care anymore, right? So anyway, I'm deeply troubled, right? So I'm like, well, what's going on here is much deeper and a broader issue, is that there is actually, what we have is a war on truth. That's exactly what's going on. We're in the middle of a truth war. And so I'm on Twitter, and we had some phenomenal growth. We were blessed like crazy. And then the tech boot came down on our neck, and we can't like anything practically. We're limited to reposts, and I'm paying for the blue check mark. I'm like pissed. And I got on this thing. The reason I got all these followers is because it was a bunch of patriots, and I'm like, I'm cool with following back, but I can't follow any of them back. And now they're getting mad. Some of them are getting mad and complaining. It's like, what the hell am I supposed to do about it? Nothing I can do about it. But the point there, what I'm talking about, is there is a censorship, right? And a throttling, I believe. You can feel a boot, a heavy boot, on the neck of truth. It's being throttled at every turn. And, the show is not about censorship. The show is about the truth. We want to talk about the truth today in a very broad level. Because I got into a conversation the other day through the wonders of Twitter and social media with a good, well-meaning guy. But we got into a long conversation, and basically the long and short of it was that his belief is that, your truth, my truth, and that truth has to do with perception. Therefore, truth is malleable, to which I call bullshit. That's absolutely wrong in my book. And I'll tell you about that, why. We'll go explore that just in a moment. But I said, no, it's ridiculous to say that a truth changes or it ceases to exist if it is not observed. There are lots of things that we cannot see clearly that are true. They'll always be true. They were true yesterday, they're true today, and they'll be true tomorrow, forever. Right? And what that is, I'll tell you right, this is, I'm unapologetically Christian here. I'm out there, right? And so I believe that's the ultimate truth, right? That word, the logos, the Bible, will never pass away because it's God's word. It's eternal. And the word became flesh through Jesus Christ and came, and God blessed us, right? With Jesus actually, God, the Son of God, God himself, literally talking to us. But yet, the entire world is not converted to Christianity. Why is that? Why is that? Well, it's because there is an active war against that truth. There are people that say he was just a man, he was just a prophet, No, the guy claimed to be the Son of God. That's what he said. And so you got to deal with that. He was either like crazy or he was who he said he is. And, he rose from the dead. Anyway, that is the validation that he was who he said he was. But that and all truth, see, all truth is connected. It's all the same. The logos is the logos. It's the word. And it doesn't matter if we got into this argument, I was telling you the other day, and he said, oh, it's all etymology. It's all about the root of the word, the origin of the word. And that's where he started with this whole idea that the truth is relative. And I can't even remember what the hell he said the origin of the word was, because it's immaterial. It doesn't matter what you call it. That's why we have different languages, right? Get it? Right? This is mustard. Okay, but in France it's moutarde. Do you understand what I'm saying? And on another planet, right? It doesn't, or another quantum existence, like the guy was talking about, and reality and all this crap. The truth is the truth. And whether you observe it or not, it's just as simple as that. Whether you perceive it or not, whether you're blind to a truth or ignorant of a truth, right? So let's get into what truth is about, because I don't want to keep you all day, because I got other things to do too, right? Here we go. Of course, what are we going to do if we're going to find ultimate truth? We're going to go to Google, the Google God. Google, I'm sure, will tell us clearly what the truth is, right? So let me pull this over here so I can see it, and I'll read it for you. Here it says, truth. There's two definitions, kind of a definition A and a definition B. Let's look at the first definition. That which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. And that's used as a noun. That's called the truth. Right? Now, the second definition, and in my opinion, this is where we already start to get in trouble, because the word starts to get twisted ever so slightly. The second definition says a fact or belief that is accepted as true. Plural form, noun, truths. Truths. Don't you hate that? I hate that word, truths. Now, forgive me. I understand loosely what it's trying to say there, is that there are different truths. There are mathematical truths. There are spiritual truths. And I think therein lies much of the problem when people start to get confused about talking about the truth. But the disturbing thing here, it says a fact or belief that is accepted as true. All right? That worries me because people accept a lot of shit, especially dumb, ignorant people that are ignorant of the truth. And then they accept things as true that are not true. Right? That's one thing. And the second thing is the truths, okay? Truths. This movement of you have your truth and my truth. This postmodern moral relativistic bullshit that your truth that wants to make me vomit. Because your truth, that bullshit term, your truth, that's just an opinion. Just an opinion. And when we change the language and you say things like my truth instead of opinion, my opinion, opinions are like, you know, what? Everybody's got them. But it doesn't make them all true. And now it's accepted that people have all their own truths. However, we do know certain truths are eternal. For example, I'll give you a really good way to understand it. A moral relativist will say, well, it's based on the circumstances. If someone steals and this, that, and the other thing, and da-da-da-da-da, and so on and so forth, and it's their truth, and that's okay for them, then that's their truth, right? Until they take their stuff, their shit, okay? Then all of a sudden, they get morally outraged, which is why I love to see these people, these Democratic politicians that are getting mugged in their own cities. Isn't that hilarious? Yeah, it's pretty damn sweet to see it, right? That finally they're getting to experience the truth instead of their truth, right? So let's move on here because there's a little more to talk about a little further down. People also ask, what is a simple definition of truth? Well, and how much time you got, right? There's not enough digital space. Oh my God, excuse me. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. There's not enough time. There's not enough digital space. There's not enough cloud space to define truth. But we do have some very, very things that we do know that are provided to us as true. And we just need to keep our eyes open. See, and let's read the definition because I don't want to digress too far. What is the simple definition of truth? The body of real things, events, and facts. Actuality. The state of being the case. Fact. Often capitalized. And then here's something that's really important here. And I'm a Christian, and I told you, I'm unapologetically so. But I'm coming at this from a philosophy perspective. I mean, it winds up in the end in the gospel.
Because you're also a scientist.
But yeah, I'm also a scientist and a mathematician, which not everybody knows about me. I have a degree in physics, and I got 17 patents out there in my name a long time ago, right? It was a whole nother life. But yeah, the a transcendent fundamental or a spiritual reality. The transcendent fundamental is as something that, much like Socrates beneath us talked about, Socrates, he talked about concepts and ideas, and I don't know if you've ever seen the whole idea of the cave, the man in the cave, and the shadow on the wall, and the outside, and the sun, and all of that. Just go look into that. I took all that stuff in Christian ethics. I don't remember half of it, right? But I studied a lot of philosophers. A transcendent fundamental is something that exists out there, and it is true regardless of how you think about it in your brain or represent it. For example, a circle is picture a circle. It's a thing. It's a perfect thing. You can picture it in your mind, but it doesn't really exist yet. It exists in your mind. But then you draw a circle, and now you have one, and it may or may not be a good representation of what that actual reality is. Perhaps you're a bad drawer and you draw a crappy circle. But in general, the symbol is a corrupted version of the actual perfect truth. You with me? So a transcendent fundamental is something that is out there, that is, regardless of whether it's even been thought, the circle exists. If none of us were here, a circle would still be a circle, and 2 + 2 would still equal 4, independent of us being here to observe it. You with me? So this idea that perception has anything to do with it at all is ridiculous. And then there's other things, like other realities and truths, like is a circle beautiful? Is a circle beautiful? It is a beautiful thing. Speaking from a mathematician's point of view, it has all these really crazy things, and you can define it, and this number pi comes from it, right? Pi, much like a pie that we eat, right? But no, it's the Greek letter pi. And it's magic, and I'm not going to bore you with math, but it's a circle is a beautiful thing. If you go, well, it's just a circle. To you, it's just a circle. That's your truth? No, you're wrong. A circle is objectively beautiful. It is. There is a definition. I don't care. That's why the whole modern art thing is such a ridiculous thing, because people on a gut level understand what's beautiful and true. You don't have to be. Let's talk about obesity, morbid obesity. That's not beautiful. And when I don't care. It's not my opinion. It's not objectively beautiful, but we've been told that we're all supposed to find everything equally good and equally beautiful. Well, that's horseshit. That's crazy stuff, man. So, right, now it says, or a spiritual reality in the definition, a transcendent fundamental or a spiritual reality. All right, now, I argue they're the same thing. I argue that a transcendent fundamental is the same thing as a spiritual reality. It is. I mean, either there is a God or there is not a God. There is a God. That is, the objective reality is that there is a creator. Look, you can study how to make a cake. You can take a scientist and they can break it down and they can put it in a gas chromatograph. They can tell you what the damned ingredients are. They can tell you everything about that cake. They ain't got no idea. They ain't got no idea why it was made. They don't. They don't know why it was made. They'll never be able to tell you why it was made. Science only has so much of a limitation, I guess is what I'm trying to get to, is that there is, and this is where I guess we could say the word truths. The youths. You ever see that movie? What's the movie? The Two Youths.
Can't remember.
Yeah, my cousin Vinny. So there are just because, and I was talking to my friend Anders the other day, and we're talking about some difficult things, and I'm not going to get into specifically what it is, but they're difficult things to accept and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I've thought a certain way my whole life about something. I've perceived it a certain way. It was my truth, right? As much as I thought there was truth. Until one day, the Lord personally changed the heart of stone and the heart of flesh. And there is a mind, there's body, and there's spirit. Soul. There are these different things. And truths exist. The truth embodies all of that. And when you don't have one of those things in there, then you don't have the whole truth. And so you'll see, I mean, people all the time, don't they? They awaken. One day they have an experience. They hear something. They see something that fundamentally produces a paradigm shift within them. Correct? And that's happening daily now. And I think that it's starting to ramp up. I think we're starting to see revival break out. And when that happens, it's not always necessarily coming to Christ, but some people are waking up in other ways. And they're on their way to God, but they're awakened. They change because all of a sudden they see something they didn't see before, right? You ever see one of those things where you stare at a bunch of dots until you see what the picture is? You know what I'm talking about. You know, all of a sudden, you can't see it. You can't see it. You're staring at the damn thing. You can't see it. Then you see it. And once you see it, you can never, ever, ever unsee it. Is that not the truth? That's truth. Your brain has now perceived it. Now, was it true? Was it there before? And that it became true? Well, it became true to you. So your truth changed. Your truth. What your perception and understanding of the truth was. But the truth never changed. The truth was the truth before, and then that day, and then forever after. So that's really much of what I wanted to talk about. And of course, why censorship is awful, so awful, and that we are in the middle of truth wars, guys. That's exactly what this is. Now, how are we going to fight those truth wars? What are we going to do? Well, what I'm doing is I'm swinging for the fences on Twitter. And that's why the censorship is so frustrating to me, that I can't follow people back and I'm stifled in my opinion, ability to comment. But what's wonderful about Twitter for me is that each day, and I've been tweaking this whole social media communications this media company, news company, conservative Christian news project, and And it's frustrating when I get stepped on, but what's really wonderful about this is the ability that each time I put out a question or posit something, and I'm trying really, really hard now and being very, very careful because I understand that I am handling truth, the truth. Ultimately, that is my goal, to drill down on this thing. And the Truth Slinger name and logo is, oh my God, I did a bunch of this stuff like a year ago, never really understanding the like all my memes too, how important what I'm doing here is. But now I get it. It's like coming together, and I can see I'm not walking as much by faith. I'm walking a little bit more by sight because the Lord has blessed me with it. And so each time I posit these questions, and I'm very careful what I'm putting out now because I don't want to get nuked, but it opens up a space for people to rattle around and debate the truth, seek the truth, talk about the truth, give their opinions. And then it's an opportunity for me to engage, either apologetically or polemically with people, in earshot of others, that they might hear this argument, that people might be persuaded. Because we truth is revealed through communication. And if we don't talk about stuff, guys, if we don't talk about it, we're going to be really in trouble. We're screwed. And so this is why I believe so much in doing this. So again, like, share, subscribe, hit the notify bell, come back, and believe me, I'm going to drill down on this stuff because it's all about the truth. People need to hear the truth. They need to be converted, so that they might awaken themselves. Like the Lord might lift the veil from their eyes. And I pray that for all of you today, that you might awaken to how bad of a trouble we're in, and how we need to humble ourselves before God, and we need to seek truth, and we need to participate in these wars. And that's what you can do by sharing this message and letting people know about the Truth Slinger Project and supporting us in any way you can. So I love you guys. I got to go. I got to do work. Unfortunately, I'd love to do this all day long, but I got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm Truth Slinger. I'm out.